And we are live. Hey, family. Good evening, everybody. Well, if you're catching us live, it's evening time in Kingston, Jamaica, which is where I am. And we are very happy on behalf of JMMB welcoming you all to another awesome episode. You know, every episode is awesome, but we're welcoming you just the same to another one. JMMB Goal Getter Live 2021, still here giving you the information that you need to be able to achieve your financial goals. And I'm Carrie Ann Stimpson. I'm the CMO of JMMB Group, and my team and I are happy to be here with you for another week. So whether you're catching us live or catching us on the replay, we're very, very happy to be here with you again for another great episode. Of course, you know how we like to do it. Please drop us a comment. Say hi, say hello. Tell us where you're watching us from, because we normally have an international contingent. It's not just Jamaicans and Jamaicans in Jamaica in the house. And see some people were here very, very early. So I have to big up Richardo, MVP Richardo, and Shanique and the Learn, Grow, Invest Club. Is it that you guys really want to start a business in Jamaica or grow a business in Jamaica while you're so early? That's awesome. Thank you for being among the first to say hi even before we went live. So while we're backstage, we saw you coming in to the chat. Wonderful. Raquel, what's happening? Tamara and Kamar, how you doing? Yes, guys, drop a comment. Tell us hi, tell us your name, and tell us where you're watching us from. Because, you know, we would like to think we're a little family around here, and it's just really, really nice to engage with you all. I know every week we normally have some new faces and some not so new faces, and we welcome all the faces. And again, please call, text, tag, DM anybody you know who would be really excited and would want this kind of information. We're talking about starting a business in Jamaica. And let me tell you guys, this is a very popular topic. As a matter of fact, I remember talking to my team the other day. I have a very good friend who just started a business recently, and just in the initial several months of the process, going out looking for clients and so on. And one of the frustrations they expressed was, there's really no playbook that exists, with respect to kind of guiding people, or if it exists, we don't know where it is. But they're like, is there a playbook that we can have to kind of take us through all the steps, not only in terms of the initial setup, but maybe what do we need to do and consider to find new clients and stuff like that. I mean, I can't tell you that we're doing the entire playbook here tonight. We'll probably be here for like 5-6 hours, but we're really just going to touch on what are the more popular questions and concerns people tend to have, or certainly want to know if they're considering starting a business. And starting a business is a hot topic, I find, in Jamaica. That could be for very many reasons, probably because I think people are really looking for ways to either grow or enhance their own income, which is great, right? Some people are in a 9 to 5. They want to start a side business or a side hustle. You have those individuals. And then you have people who just have an entrepreneurial dream. They're inspired by all of the great Jamaican entrepreneurs who would have gone before them, and they want to really use the opportunity to learn more. So we are here with one of JMMB's awesome experts. If you saw the flyer on social media, she is no stranger to JMMB Goal Getter Live. She is one of our SME gurus in the house who can give us all of the tips and the information you need to have to know about this thing called how do I start a business in Jamaica. So before I bring her up, let me just continue to say welcome. I say yes, more people coming into the chat. Hey, Dermot Winston from North Carolina. Love it, love it. See, I tell you, we're going foreign, people. We are in foreign. I love it. Andre, what's happening? Hey, Michelle, welcome, welcome, welcome. QQ, Tavia, Tamara, RQ, what's happening from Kingston in the house? Christine, that's my mommy's name. Watching from Hackensack, New Jersey. I love it, love it, love it, guys. Love to see everybody jumping in. And yes, guys, remember, call friends, family. Hey, CM, you are not late at all. You're just on time. Wonderful to have you. And Queen B, what's up? Good vibes. Love it. Hey, Ian, love it. So thanks, guys. And Dandra. So yes, guys, bring in everybody. We're just starting, so it's not too late. bring them in because we are going to have an awesome conversation. And you know how we do it, guys. Let me just bring up our awesome guest first. Her name is Shani Duncan-Falconer. Hey, Shani, welcome back to Goal Getter Live.
Hi, Carrie.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So Shani and I are twinning tonight in our JMMB red shirts. Okay, right? So we're happy to be here. Shani, I always like to invite my guests to start out by telling everybody what they do because I don't like to embarrass myself by getting people title and thing wrong. You know how it go. So could you just kind of tell us what you do at JMMB and yeah, kind of thing, who you are?
Okay. So my name is Shani Duncan-Falconer, and I am the Senior Corporate Manager for the SME Resource Center at JMMB. So what we do at the Resource Center is that we help SMEs. So as you know, JMMB has our bank, we have our investments, we're a group, we have pensions, we have insurance, but now we want to bring it all together for our SMEs. So you come into the Resource Center and we really help to guide you in planning how you build your business. So we're not only about the financial solutions, we're about bringing it together and making sure that your business is set and ready to be good and achieve great things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And guys, you know, our SME Resource Center is a very, very special place and part of the JMMB group, as Shani was sharing, because we understand, you know, as small businesses, small and medium sized businesses, it's not just about the banking solutions and the loans and the investments. It's about just having that extra support through the coaches that are part of the Resource Center team to give you the guidance and the coaching and the information and the support that you need to be able to navigate the journey. And I know you have a nice group of clients. I call them your babies over at the Resource Center that love you all very much because you take very good care of them. We know that as clients of the Resource Center, they get access to things like webinars on all kind of topics like taxation and building company culture and all these wonderful topics. Some of them you can actually catch on our YouTube channel, guys. So if you before you become a client of Resource Center, because we know we're going to get enough people coming clients after this episode, I'm just saying, but you know, we have them on our YouTube channel. So check out our YouTube channel, JMMB Group Jamaica, where you get there's a nice playlist of our SME Resource Center webinars where you can catch prior episodes. And of course, once you become a client, you get newsletter and you get access to the webinars. It's an awesome community, I would say, of SME partnerships that exist in JMMB. And I see Marilyn here from Trinidad and Tobago. Marilyn is in Trinidad. Hey, Marilyn, thanks for joining. And yes, we have a resource center in Trinidad as well, right, Shani?
Yes, we do.
Wonderful. So whether you're in Jamaica or Trinidad, same nice service and partnership and support is there for you. So we're going to jump in, guys. The usual, you know how we do it. It's your live. It's technically, our live, but it's your live because at the end of the day, we really want to make sure that the information that we provide is totally up your street. So it's a new recent format we've been employing since we rolled out season 2 here on Goal Getter Live. So we're going to ask Shani some level setting questions for like the first 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes tops. And then now we open up the floor for everybody to ask their questions in the chat. So whether you're joining us from Facebook or YouTube, if you happen to be joining us from Twitter, Periscope, drop your questions in the chat because Shani is here. I don't know how many of us ever have the opportunity to sit kind of one-on-one with this live with a SME coach and advisor. I'm just saying. So drop your questions. Great opportunity. Yeah, man, CM, like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. CM, don't send me no invoice for the free promotion that you're giving me, you know. But it's a serious thing, guys. You know, at the end of the day, the information is there. It's free. It's available for you. And it's awesome. All right. Hi, Narisia. So last hello again. We see more people coming in. Donovan learning. Yes, Donovan, we're here to learn. Hey, Dandra, Ian, love it. Thank you guys for joining. Georgia, Jamaican in JMMB TT in the house. How you doing? Georgia, you never called me the other day, and I'm sure I messaged you back and said we need to talk. I missed your call. Yeah, man, call me. Let's talk tomorrow because you're going to live long. All right. So, Shani, let me bring up my questions here. The screen locked on me. I had it all here ready to go, and then the screen totally locked on me. So, Shani, here's the thing. First question now, guys. We're ready? We're ready? All right. Now, the first thing, of course, usually all great businesses start as an idea, right? And we know that there's some folks here watching, either they have the idea for a business or they probably started to take the first few steps to set it up. But the obvious first question I think on everybody's mind is, once I have that idea, what's that first step that I need to take? So I'm in my bed, I'm probably sipping a glass of wine or having a beer or something, and poof, I get this idea for what I think is an awesome business popping into my head. What's the first step that I need to take, Shani?
All right. So as you said, you get this idea, right? But the even bigger challenge now is to distinguish the good ones from the bad ones, right? So what you have to do is you have to do market research. You have to go out there and figure out, is this a good business to have or not? So in doing that, you do your research. You could do a focus group, a small focus group, or you could do a survey and send it out to persons, or you can talk to persons within the industry to find out, is this a viable idea? So what you have to look at is, does your business solve a problem? If your business is not solving a problem, why would somebody use your service or use your product? If they don't have a problem, they're not going to do that. So that is the number one thing that you have to look for. Then once you decide, okay, yes, I am solving a problem, what are you going to do differently now from your competitors? So your competitors are already out there. So now you need to say, okay, you know what? My competitors are doing X, but maybe my customer service is going to be on a higher level. Maybe I'm going to have a lower cost. So you have to think about the different things that are going to set you apart now coming in with a new business. Because most likely the idea is out there already, but what you have to do is innovate on it and make sure that it's top and it's not baseline with your competitors, right? And then even looking at your competitors now, you really have to be realistic and say, are you getting into an industry where they're powerful competitors? And if you get into that industry, nothing is going to happen for you because it's already monopolized by these heavy players. So you, as I said, you have to do proper market research. Going into a business is not just a side thing and you're like, if it work, it work. If it don't work, it don't work. You're putting your time, your money, your effort into it. So make sure you start it right. So start with a feasibility study.
Listen to me now, Shani. That is some serious nuggets you're dropping there. And guys, I mean, again, we keep welcoming people. Yes, guys, keep coming in. Tell us hi, who you are, where you're watching us from. Carolyn, Naricia, Andrea, love it. We're seeing you. Hey, Jennifer. You know, and I think what you're sharing is important, Shani. And this is why I keep saying, JMMB as a financial institution, we have the conversations on these lives. I like to say, we're keeping it all the way real, breaking it all the way down, because it's really about standing for people's best interest. Because when you're talking about starting a business, right, it's really can be a significant investment of your time and your money to get it done. And sometimes the stakes are high too if it doesn't succeed. And that's really sound advice you're sharing, Shani, in the sense that it's not just about coming up with an idea. You think it's wicked, and then you just run with it. And when you talk about feasibility study, I know you're not saying, well, I'm going to ask my mommy and my family and my best friend, because they probably will tell you, yeah, man, the idea awesome. Because, they love you. Some of them may not be honest, and some of them may not even be in the target market of the business that you're trying to set up either. So let's start there. So when you talk about focus groups and surveys, you're reaching out to independent people who fall in the industry, who fall in your target market, who will give you some honest and objective feedback. And then, of course, as you said, finding your niche, which is really what you're saying, which really has to do with looking at what exists out there already. Because a lot of people say, okay, well, I'm going to open a clothing store, and we big up all the clothing stores because they make us look good. But at the end of the day, if you're just opening up another clothing store in the same plaza where there are 3 clothing stores selling the same thing and you're coming with the same thing, or can you open up a clothing store that fills a need that doesn't exist? Because there are lots of stores like around where there's only one type of store like that exists, right? And there's nobody else filling the gap. Can I just be honest? A personal story. I'm looking for some dumbbells, some 15-pound dumbbells. And for the last month, I've been struggling because I only know of one store in Kingston that sells dumbbells. And when I go to the store, they say, oh, we're not getting another supply for 6 weeks. And I have to wait 6 weeks for these dumbbells to come into the country. And I don't know of any other store that sells those things. No, I'm not saying that people must go open a door to sell dumbbells. The point I'm making is that here we have a store that has a seeming monopoly in the market that no one else has been tapping into, but yet we have 50 million different clothing stores that are all selling the same thing. So it starts with, as you say, asking the questions of the people in the industry, your target client, who they are, what do they need, and how can you come in and fill that gap based on the competition, what exists already. Hello, on hearing these nuggets. Wonderful. Hey, Shanika, Andrea, Sophia, Odian, what's happening? Carolyn, wonderful. Welcome. So, Shani, awesome advice. And guys, remember, bring in your people to join us. We're having some great discussion. So, Shani, you would have answered the first question then. After you have the idea, first step, do your feasibility study. Make sure there is demand for what it is you're going to have to offer. Make sure that what you're offering has a certain level of uniqueness relative to what already exists out there that people are willing to pay for, to make sure the idea is really viable or not. Now, once I've done my feasibility study, then, Shani, I've done my research, my focus group and thing, and I say, yeah, man, here is a nice little niche that I can occupy that nobody else really seemed to be looking at like this. And, I think it's viable. Are there any entities now that I can start to turn to? Because now I say, okay, I'm ready to roll. What are the entities that exist now that I can turn to for any kind of support, perhaps, to help me now to build on that initial idea?
All right. Yes. So one of the things that we do in the Resource Center is that we have a network of partners. And if, say, you were to come to us in the Resource Center and telling us about this idea, at this point, you may not be ready for finance, but what you're ready for is help. And with that, we would put you onto a partner like JBDC. We have partners such as Sisters Inc., YEA, there's UTech. There's so many different organizations and agencies out there that persons could tap into, but they don't know. Another big one is DBJ. So DBJ has a voucher program. And if you go on to dbjvoucher.com, you're going to see there a list of most of the business development organizations in Jamaica who can help you put together your business plan. They can help you with new product development. They can help you with market research. And what DBJ does is that you can apply for a voucher for up to $200,000 that you can now use with any one of these partners to be able to help you to do those things. So in terms of the ones that I call Sisters Inc., YEA, JBDC, even JMEA, they are all JMMB partners, but they're all on the voucher program. So come in and we can help you and pair. And the thing is, when you come through the Resource Center, we do a needs analysis on you. So we pair you with the best partner, as opposed to you just going and seeing a list and you're like, I don't know who to choose. But we understand your profile and we say, you know what? JBDC might be the best one for you. Or Sisters think it's the best. So we really make sure that we are paired properly.
I love that. I love that. But those are some awesome. That's an awesome list. I mean, so I mean, obviously, if we are part of the resource center, you would definitely do the needs analysis and give us an indication of the types of entity, the best entity that we can reach out to. I know we're gonna talk more about that. $200,000 got my ears kind of pricked up. I don't know about y'all, but I know we're gonna go down that road a little bit later on to hear more about that because we know that financing is like the number one need for folks starting out or looking to grow a business. So that's YEA, that's Young Entrepreneurs Association,
Yes,
JBDC, Jamaica Business Development Corp.
yes. There,
I'm passing the test, people. DBJ Development Bank of Jamaica, the voucher
voucher program. So
program.
it's djvoucher.com, and you can go and see everything on that.
Awesome. And you said the JMEA, which is Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. What do they do? That's interesting.
So they are one of DBJ's BDOs also. So you can go to them for that help and guidance also. So it's not just that they're an association, they actually help you. So if you know that you are coming into the market specifically with a product that maybe you want to export, we at JMMB would say, you know what, your best match right now is JMEA because we can see the future for you in exports.
Okay, awesome. So great. So lots of entities available there. And again, depending on whether you decide to go it alone or you want to have the conversation with the resource center team for them to kind of guide you as to the best route. Yes, Cheryl, acknowledging we see a question. Yes, Shanique, we are gonna dig a little bit more into that voucher program and what that's all about. But it's good to know that these entities are available. Now, the next question then, Shani, is that, and again, we're standing for people's best interest always in these conversations because when people talk about starting a business, I'm sure you will agree, although I've never discussed it with you directly, but I'm sure you will agree that starting a business may not be for everybody. Let's just put it out there. It may not be for everybody. And we first of all want to big up the employees in the crowd, okay? Because there is no shame in saying that, starting a business isn't for me. I am an employee type of person. I just like to work for somebody. I will wait for my check on the 25th or 26th of every month because that's me. And that's fine because businesses need employees too. There's no shame in that. And it begs the question then, when I'm starting my own business now, in part of the process of talking about viability is understanding your own strength as a business owner, as a business manager. And it's not to say, obviously, if you don't have all the strength you need, you could look for the support, you could look for the partnerships and so on. But I think the next obvious question is, Shani, what are, I guess you could say, the kind of a business management tools and skills that I need, for my business to be successful? I think that's another great question to ask as I again begin to assess the landscape of whether or not this business opportunity is something I should jump on. What are the skill sets and tools that I need?
So in terms of skill sets that you need, what we call it is some personal entrepreneurial characteristics that you need to have as a business person. So you can do the financial management, you can do the marketing, you can do all of that. But before you do all of that, you have to know to yourself, are you resilient? Number one. Are you able to handle rejection, stress, burnout, lack of focus? Are you able to fight for this business that you want to do from scratch? And that is very hard. For instance, my husband is an entrepreneur, and the things that I see him go through on a day-to-day basis, it is tough. And you need to be resilient. If you know you don't have that, you kind of need to think twice about, maybe I need to be an employee at this point, The other thing too is communication. Communication is key. So you need to be able to interact with clients, partners, your peers, your prospects. You, especially if you're the one starting up the business, you're the face of the business. So you need to learn how to have that proper communication. Another thing is strategic thinking. So you say, okay, yes, I want to open up this business, but how are you going to get from making zero money to making 15 million to making 75 million to making 450 million and above? You need to be able to think long term and to think strategically, right? Another thing, teamwork. It's hard. You cannot be the only one doing everything. So you need to learn how to work as a team. Maybe it may be with your employees, or it may be with just having a proper leadership role within your organization. And teamwork does mean leadership too, because you cannot be a good leader if you cannot work as in a team. So those are the things you need to consider. But then, Carrie, I also want to say that entrepreneurs need to understand financial management. If it is one thing that I would say, just please go and take a course. Please understand, or make your financial manager your best friend in the world. Tell them everything. You wake up, you're like, you know what, I'm going to eat this right now. It's going to cost this. Should I do it? You have to understand your finances. You need to know what's coming in, what's going out, how much you want to make. I always say, if you don't set goals in terms of your business, that this year I want to make $15 million. The only way you're going to make that $15 million is if you have clear goals set out, clear programs, clear pricing strategies as to how you're going to make that $15 million. It's the same thing when you go in and you go for a job interview and they ask you what salary you want to make. You know in your head how much you want to make. So don't go in as an entrepreneur and be like, whatever I make in the first year I make. No. Know what you want and then you will reach it. If you don't know, anything will come at you and it may be much less than you wanted.
Man, guys, Shani is dropping the real talk here tonight. And yes, guys, we're going to touch on the 200,000. Orville, the 200,000. Everybody get hot on the 200,000. And what, guys, please continue to drop your questions in the comments for the Q&A. We see the questions. Yes, Capri, we see a question there. But we're going to touch on it when we reach that section. So, I mean, Shani, really awesome talk. So we're talking about to be an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. You need that resilience. You need communication skills. You need the strategic thinking and planning capabilities, team management capabilities. And I love that last point, financial management and planning capabilities, because it's about the money. If you don't know how the money thing works, basic knowledge of accounting, people will come in and fleece you is a serious thing. And then now you don't know how to plan properly ahead in terms of, as you say, pricing, so you can understand revenue and costing and all of these things. Very, very important. And we think we can just outsource it to anybody to take care of. And as I say, it's a serious thing. You don't want nobody to take you for a ride. You need to read a financial statement and know what that thing is saying and be able to pick up anything that doesn't seem kosher. It's all of those skill sets. I think it's an awesome way to put it together, because if you don't have those things set up or in place for yourself, or if you're going into partnership with someone as well, two of you together need to have. What about that partnership thing? I know I feel that's probably kind of sudden on you, Shani, but what's your take? Because again, we acknowledge that maybe I don't have all of the natural endowment or even acquired endowment of skill sets. What's your thought about going into partnership with someone in a business? What are high level some of the things I could consider as I start to figure out again the skill sets and tools that I need to be successful?
So you said it goes along with skill set. So if you have a partner who has different skill sets than you, that always works, because now you can combine them and make sure that you're setting up your business for success. But the thing is, though, the same thing as if you're going into a marriage. Can you be with this person forever, for the life of your business? Does this person have the same qualities that I have? Do you have to understand that you don't just get a partner because the partner has money. You get a partner because you'll have the same values and you all can grow the business together. And if that is not there, your partnership is doomed. I have seen so many partnerships that just did not go right because one partner, he's just on his own doing his own thing. He doesn't care about the business. The other partner, he is working in the business. But then that also comes to, Kerry, you see, you're going off on partnerships. Make sure you have a partnership agreement, okay? Make sure that you and your partner are on the same level. If it's supposed to be 50-50, make sure it's on paper. If it's 75, 25, that's what it is. But make sure it is on paper, because if you have to dissolve that partnership and it's not on paper, one partner could say, you know what, this whole thing is mine, and go with your whole business. So make sure, have agreements, and also make sure that you have the same qualities and you can gel well together.
Crucial. So, hello, guys. Nuggets dropping, Hey, Shane, what's happening? Yes, we know we're getting to the voucher. We open Pandora's box. Hey, Natalia, we're gonna explain it, Shane, in a bit later in our Q&A or further down in these questions. RQ, Andrea. I love Andrea's thing. You also need to have a positive mindset in business, and even in the positive mindset, again, it's about making sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Because we talk about partnership, there are wonderful advantages to having a partner in business. Maybe there's an opportunity, someone can bring capital into the business. They can again bring an endowment of strengths and skill sets to help perhaps run the business, if that's the nature of the agreement that you don't have. They can bring to the table, maybe they're great at finance and accounting and you're great at marketing, and the two of you together could make an awesome powerhouse. But as you say, Shani, make sure that agreement is up in writing, because see me and come live with me is two different story, right? And I love the marriage analogy. You're gonna be with this person hopefully for some extended period of time. Do the pre-business counseling. I'm kidding. No, not premarital counseling. But no, make sure you have the conversation. Outline that contract. What is the share of ownership gonna be? Different responsibilities. What's gonna happen if the thing is dissolved? Who keep the name? All of these things can be wonderfully sorted out. And of course, perhaps getting the legal advice of a very good attorney to get all of these things drawn up in the initial thing is probably sound, I'm thinking as well. Hey, Francis, good evening. Yes, we're dropping solid advice this evening, guys. So remember, it's still not too late. Call your people, bring them in and tell them to join us. Now, the next question then is, so I've done my feasibility study. I've drawn up my agreements, whatever. I've reached out to the various entities for support. What is the first steps I should take now in literally starting and setting up the business? What are those first steps, Shani?
Okay, so the first thing that I would want you guys to do, setting up your business, is to register your business name. So you come up with a business name, make sure you go and register it. Let me tell you something, Kerry. Me knowing all of this, when I was ready to set up my own business, I was like, yeah, come up with my business name, website, business card, get somebody to do logo. Then I submit it to companies' offices. I get a call. Mrs. Faulkner, you can't have that name. It's close to another name that we have already. You need to change your business name. I was like, after I've spent all of this money, now I need to go and change my business name, right? So that's the first thing. All you have to do, all I had to do was go onto companies' offices and search, or you can go and you can search for business names and see what they have. So that's your first thing. Search and then register that business name. It costs 3,005 to register that name.
And you register it at the company's office.
Company's office, right? So you need to know now, as we were talking before, do you want to be a sole trader? Do you want to be a limited liability company, or do you want to be a partnership? So most people pick sole trader, right? And that is because it's the easiest form of business. It costs 2,500 to do, and you're able to go in and register pretty easily. When you want to do a company, on the other hand, it is $24,000, right? So it is a bit more expensive. So people will pick the first one because it is easier, right? So what I want you to really do is to think about long term. What do you want? Because for a sole trader, how it works is that you are the business. When you die, the business dies. The debt you incur as a sole trader, that's your debt. When you do it as a limited liability company, on the other hand, then you now are separate from your business. So any company debt, that's that company's debt, right? So really think about what your long-term plans are for your company before you go to register it. I've seen a lot of businesses still start as sole traders and then move to limited liability. But when they actually reach there, they're like, Shani, why didn't I just do limited liability in the first place, right? And then there's also the partnership that you can do. And the partnership is pretty simple too. That is about 2,500 when you go to companies' offices to set up a partnership. So you can think about it and then choose wisely as to what you want to do. But register that business name if you have it already, and then register your company. But after you register your company, I just have to put it in there. Make sure you set up a bank account. Because what you want to do is now to start, you want to start right. So when you actually now say, yes, my business is going to start making money, you're not going to commingle your funds. You're not going to start putting it into a personal account. Start right for the business to end up right, So business bank account.
Love that. Love that. And I love that you shared that personal story, Shani. Francis from YouTube asking the question, but that's the point of Shani's story, is that registering the company and that company name is very important, because you don't want to register something that people have already, somebody using already proper that you didn't know about. Or, as you say, in your case, it was that the name was similar, very similar to another company name. And, guys, we're not talking about semantics here. At the end of the day, we're in a very competitive market space. You don't want to be confusing your name with some other name in the industry. God forbid it's also offering a similar product or service. It could create a whole lot of marketing headaches for you down the road. So again, uniqueness is the name of the game when you're in business. If you can be niche and unique and offer things in a way that people are willing to pay for, that's different from the competition, is really what we're going for. And it starts with that name, a name that's memorable, that people can associate with you. And again, you don't want to be looking and sounding like somebody else for them confuse up your thing. And I know we have many news stories in history of business names and things that sound very similar, and then now somebody have to put out an ad in the paper when the other business mess up. There's an ad in the paper. We are not associated with ABC Limited. We are ABD Limited, not ABC. You don't want that kind of headache, right, Francis? So that is why we do that. And I love that point about making that decision between whether you want to register as a sole trader slash partnership versus a limited liability company, I think that's very worthwhile because, it can offer certain kinds of protection. God forbid, any debt somebody want to come after the business for that. You want to make sure that your personal assets and ownership is separate from the limited liability company. I think that's a great point. And then obviously that bank account. You don't want to commingle your personal funds with the funds of the business. No, no, no. We're keeping it real here, guys. We're keeping it real. We've seen it happen. We are in this business a long time. We've seen the pitfalls. So, guys, take this in love. Don't commingle the funds, right? It's a serious, serious thing. So thank you so much, Shani. Love that. So we're registering, we're opening that bank account, choosing that name. And guys, make sure if you want to own the website URL, that's fine. For the business name, do that. But don't go through URL and business card like Shani shared, and then you don't register it, and then you find out that somebody else have the name. And registering the URL is not enough, folks. You still have to register it with the company's office if you're doing business in Jamaica, because that's what we're talking about here, starting a business in Jamaica. No, Shani, the big $10 million question in the room, drum roll. What are the financial requirements to start a business? We know that is the big question on a lot of people's minds.
Right. So this, you have to be prepared for your startup costs, right? So there are pre-opening startup costs that you have to think about, right? So you have to think about the cost of having your business plan, research expenses, your borrowing costs, your expenses for technology. A lot of people do not think about the research part of it, the pre-opening starting costs. You have to think about, is there marketing that I'm going to need to promote my business? So you have to really put all of those together to know, okay, this is what I need to do. Then post-startup costs would include advertising, promotion, employee expenses. Do you have to now bring in staff? How much is that going to cost me, right? And then in terms of what I said before, are you going to register as a sole proprietorship? Are you going to register partnership, an LLC? So you need to know the cost of those things. You need to know the cost of a new business. Everybody thinks about, yeah, okay, so the cost of setting up a physical location or the cost of going online. But think about the cost of research, making sure that you start good and making sure that you have your business plan, you have your research expenses, you have all of those things covered.
Yeah. Very important point. And I love that it's a nice little list, if you have, like you have an Excel spreadsheet or whatever, you can really put down that list of requirements, which is, as you say, the research costs when you're doing the feasibility study, the registration costs with the company's office, the initial marketing, advertising expenses, the cost of putting in technology. Even if you're registering a website, you have to pay that annual fee for the domain name. That's a cost. If you're hiring staff, that's a cost. Make sure you have a clear understanding of what those initial costs are, and as you go into the early stages of your business, it's very important. It's part of that financial knowledge that I know we discussed earlier, in terms of making sure we're clear not only about how much money we want to make, we equally have to be clear about what we have to spend. And I think that's very, very important. Also jump in a little bit deeper, Shani, because I know that obviously, so even when we do have an idea about what are the initial startup costs, I mean, what are the options, that I have available to me to seek funding? Because I know that is another $10 million question, right? And I think we can just ask it right here,
Yes.
because I know it's gonna come up at some point in the discussion. Because there are many ways that I can seek funding. There is loans, there is equity, seeking equity or capital, some kind of capital by offering shares in the business to an investor, or there could be grants. I mean, what are the financial alternatives available to someone who's looking to start a business?
All right. So Carrie, you said it. So the first thing, the first option is to see what personal investment you have to put into your business, whether it is friends, family, what have you invested. So, and even when you do that, when you go out looking for investors or looking for a bank loan, they want to see what you have put into your business, and that you say, okay, I trust my business so much that I have put in my savings to make sure that it will work. So that the first thing you have to do is put in your personal investment, or you have your friends, your family, those persons who you know will support you if they're able to. Then another way you can go is to get equity investment. And equity investment, as you said, is saying, okay, you know what? I will give you 10% of my business for X amount of money. If you put this in, when the business now starts making a profit, this will be your share of the business. And what you could do is you could put a buyback agreement in there to say, you know what, you come into my business, it may be for a 5-year period, and then after, give me the option to buy it back. If you are scared of saying, I don't really want a partner forever. So there are ways to do it, so you can buy back your business. So I would say you look for that equity investment. And then the last option now comes to debt, which is a loan. So whether it's a loan from a friend, whether it's a loan from a bank, and I know we will touch on this, it is hard to get a bank loan for a startup business. So if you can show, though, that you have been in that industry, say you're a dentist, say you have a practice already, but you want to open up a new practice, that would be different. That you would have shown that you know the industry and you're reliable, and we can now lend to you. But I would say with debt financing, you're going to have to pay it back at an interest rate. So I would say use investment first. You know you want to start this business. Start saving towards your business, towards opening your business. Then you go to equity, and then you go to debt. But there are also grants. And I know we touched on DBJ, and that voucher program is actually a grant. So it is not a loan. It is not money that you have to pay back. It is a grant that they give you. And then DBJ has a lot of great programs where they give grants. So right now they've opened up their Ignite program, and they're giving, I believe it's up to 7.5 million per entrepreneur who is successful in the Ignite program. So there are a lot of grants out there that you can look into based on what industry you're in.
Wow, I love that grant. I mean, let's just stick with the grant a little bit. Because I know the comments them soon light up. And I mean, I think grants are a great option to explore, because it's kind of like free money in a sense. Obviously it's not without its conditionalities for you to get it. But so DBJ, so they have the Ignite program and they have the voucher program. Could you kind of give us an overview of that Ignite program?
All right. So the Ignite program, they take companies from different industries. Once you can show that you have an innovative product or service that you're doing, then you can apply to be part of the Ignite program. They actually just closed off applications for this cohort, but they're always cohorts. So you can apply for that program. What they do is that they link you with one of the business development organizations that they have. Well, no, they link you with a BSI, a business service intermediary. And I think some of those are like Sisters Inc., they're Branson, there are different BSIs who help you structure your business properly. So you're getting a grant, but you're getting technical expertise to make sure that once you get that grant, you know how to use it. So it comes with a lot of added benefits. And you have to go through a structured program that you have to be ready for. So don't just think that, oh yeah, getting free money, I'm going to do whatever I want to do with it. No. Grants are often very specific for a specific need. So you will go through that program, they give you the assistance, and then you know what you need it for, and it is used for that purpose.
Love that. So we can get that information on the DBJ's website, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Any other places that offer grants outside of the DBJ that we are aware of right now?
So there is also the Caribbean Development Bank. They offer grants.
Okay.
There is, I believe, I have to look at the name of. I actually saw it. It came up today in my email.
Oh,
Caribbean,
just now.
Yes, Caribbean Export. They are now offering grants.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So there are different places that you can go to. So Caribbean Export is one too.
Okay, great. And I know that again, as part of the SME Resource Center at JMMB, anybody who's interested in getting more information as a client, you guys would certainly be able to guide in that regard. And I love that option of grants because, as you say, it's not some money you have to pay back. You really just have to certainly satisfy certain conditionalities to not only be a part of the program, but of course you have to deliver, I'm sure, on certain requirements to be able to get the grant, which is great. Now, going back to what you were discussing earlier, Shani, because you spoke about obviously you have to have some skin in the game. It's your idea. So you can't come to the table with $0. And anybody who you're going to be trying to get into bed with to do the financing, whether it be an equity investor or getting a loan from a financial institution, they want to know how much skin in the game you have too in terms of money you put in for yourself, for your own business, because it shows commitment as well at the very least. But as you said, if you can find a friend or family member who's willing to support you with some kind of capital injection, and then if you want to find an independent, I see Francis here saying Shark Tank, great show, I love that show. But you get equity investments available. Are there any such programs that exist in Jamaica where if I don't know anybody personally who could provide an equity investment for my business? Are there any such programs that exist in Jamaica?
Yes, definitely. So another one of our partners, First Angels. So First Angels will provide equity investments for angel funding, for your company. So it's the same thing in terms of they have programs to make sure that you are able to utilize the money properly. Usually when that is done, you have to make sure that as with the grant, you have to make sure that the money that they're putting in is being spent properly. So you have to go through the same technical expertise. One of the things is that most times they put a board of directors together, and it will be somebody from that business. Another thing too is that for our medium-sized businesses, JMMB now has private equity funding, which is led by Kareem, and we can now help those medium-sized businesses. So when you're making you reach to a certain level with that one. You're not starting here. You reach to the 100, 200 million. You can now say, okay, I need equity to grow my business. But if it's more at the startup stage, you would go to a First Angel.
All right. Love that one. Love that one. So there, so Freka First Angels could provide equity. But as we said, if you know of anyone who'd be willing to go into your business with you as an equity investor, again, make sure you drop them I's and cross the T's, because they do have commitments to fulfill to them also. And if you're not able to fulfill those commitments, what happens then? All of those things would be done in a nice contract for you to set up. But that's another option. So we spoke about grants from places like DBJ. We spoke about making sure you put your own investment in your business. We spoke about equity investing, finding an investor. We spoke about if you can get any support from family and friends, will be able to provide you with some sort of capital injection to support you in your startup. And the big one is loans for banks, and this is, I think, probably one of the most discussed topics around, because you spoke about the fact, Shani, that basically you have to prove to the bank viability of this business primarily in order to get a loan. Can you say how that works exactly? I mean, what kind of information do I need to provide? What does that even look like?
All right. So if you're coming in and you are now starting up, to get a loan, maybe you may have to do it in your personal capacity because there's no information on the business. So if you're doing it in your personal capacity, bankers look for the five C's, and one of the C's that they look for is collateral, and then they look for capital. Do you have collateral that will help you to back this loan if something happens? So you're coming in, most likely you have to do it in your personal capacity. Do you have collateral that you can say, okay, I can back this loan with this collateral? And some people don't like to do that, but if you know that you have put everything into this business and you know you have to make it succeed, you will do everything to make it succeed. So you will have to take the tough decision and say, yes, you know what, I'm going to put up this collateral because I know my business is going to do well, right? And then also too, if you have any capital. So sometimes too, when you start a business, you do start it when you are an employee. It happens. You start it when you're an employee. So you have to make sure that you have that funding to say, all right, I have this amount of money that I can say, I can also back it with that also. And I want to say too, is that, and I think I touched on it a little earlier, is that you know that you're going into business. You set goals for yourself. If one of your goals is to open a business and you have a 9 to 5 job, the same way you're supposed to save, you save money to start that business. Keep saving, put it in an investment portfolio that you know in a year or two you want to start this business. You come to JMMB, tell them in 2 years you want to start a business, and make them start an investment portfolio for you. So I know it's a lot based on loans, but there are other things you can do to make your money work for you. And people really need to start making their money work for them, especially when they want to go into business.
I love that perspective, Shani. And guys, just want to acknowledge people who continue to join us in the conversation. Late but still great. It's all good. Just acknowledging people like Kellyanne and yes, Kimon. Thanks for summarizing for folks just joining in. Luca Zaid, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Chef Ricardo, welcome. Guys, it's a great conversation we're having. And in case, again, we're recording this, guys, remember, even though we are live, this is being recorded. And once we're done, it will go up. At least certainly on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page as well. So if you didn't catch everything before, you can go back at your convenience on demand, break out the popcorn, share the link with somebody, and catch everything you would have missed. Now, I think the bank loan conversation is a great one, Shani, because I think that causes a lot of contention. I know that we saw someone earlier in the comments speaking about there's certain business models, that banks seem to not want to lend for, perhaps when you're starting up a company. But I think you made a great point initially in that there's sometimes if it's a brand new business and you have no way to provide any sort of financial information about the viability of the business, you may have to take out a loan on in your own personal capacity using your own personal collateral in the absence of any prior evidence that this model would succeed. And this is a reason, guys, and I know we've discussed this a few times before in other conversations, is that that's the dilemma that the banks face, because a lot of folks don't realize that the money that the bank is going to be lending to you for your small business is actually the money of the depositors who are their clients. So when you think about it, I put my hard-earned savings inside of JMMB Bank, right? And I put my savings account and may save diligently in JMMB Bank for my own goals. Shani wants to start a business and she goes to JMMB Bank to get her loan. JMMB Bank is knowing that they're going to take a portion of Kerry-Ann's deposit, because that's what they do. Banks take a portion of their deposits that they have for the customers and off-lend that portion to other people in loans. So they set it to for loans to buy car, mortgage to buy house, and loans for businesses as well. The bank knows, that whoever them lend that loan to, they have to have enough safeguards in place so that the loans can pay back. So when Kerry-Ann come to get her deposit money to withdraw, when I go to the bank and withdraw my money, the money have to be there and the loans have to be paid back in order to keep the flow going. Obviously, it's just a portion, and the BOJ, of course, is there to make sure we have all the checks and balances in place. But that's the dilemma. It's not like the banks have a wad of money sitting down in a vault that don't belong to nobody, and if the loans default, everything Chris. It is depositors' money that are being used, a portion of it being used to lend to people. And so that's the dilemma that the banks have, that if people are coming to buy loans, the first question the bank will ask is, can you pay it back? Because we need that money back so that we can pay the depositors when them come to do their withdrawal. And so that's the dilemma. It's we really can't, as I guess the banks really couldn't be expected to say, well, we're just going to be lending money to any and everybody who asks a question, which is why the viability question. So whether there's collateral, so if you're going to borrow, you may have to borrow in your own personal capacity because you don't have anything to show that this business is viable. Because we have instances, unfortunately, where people borrow and they don't pay it back, and it really can cause a financial stress on the bank itself if they don't manage that delicate balance, because they have it's really depositors' money that they would have been lending, and they need to make sure that they're lending responsibly so that the depositors' money will be there. And of course, and that's really the bottom line. So that's a delicate dance. So I do like that point, Shani, that sometimes if you have no proof of viability of this business because there are no financial statements, it's a brand new model, probably the best route is to look for grants or equity funding. And then now, once you get to a stage where you can prove some kind of viability, or maybe a couple of years in, you have some financial statements to show by, our licensed auditing firm, accounting firm, then you can go to the bank and say, see, here is the receipts. We're making this work. It can be done at that point. So the bank can feel comfortable that, when we off lending some of the depositors' money, the depositors can get their money back. Because if you are the depositor and the bank said, why, guess what? No loan not really pay back, so just hold off little. Nobody would be happy. Even you as the business owner wouldn't be happy. So that's really the delicate dance. So I think that's a great conversation, Shani. Thank you so much for shedding some light. Could you share with us, because man, I think we're really having such an awesome discussion. I know we're covering a lot of stuff that people are asking. um given the COVID environment, can you share with us some information in terms of, is there any impact that COVID has had in starting a business? And then secondarily to that, are there any businesses now that are thriving, that maybe we could say here are some opportunities you could look at? Because we're still ostensibly in COVID time. Let's just keep it real. I mean, United States is celebrating 40%, 50% vaccination. We are not there yet. Don't know when we're going to be there. So I mean, we are still being very, very cautious in how we're managing getting back to quote unquote normal. But can you give us a sense of what the COVID environment has been like, and what I guess people can look at as far as opportunities and business models that are thriving right now?
So I would say that in every crisis, there still is opportunity. So just because we're in COVID, we're in a pandemic, does not mean that your business cannot thrive, and it does not mean that you should not start a business. But what you have to do is make sure that you're very wise when starting that business. So you're going to have to demonstrate a different sort of care for your customers. So you might have to say, if you have a business, what you may not have thought about is to have an online portion for that business, an online component. You need to now keep abreast of changes and make sure that your customer needs are always met, right? And then you have to be more innovative than you would have been than just opening a standard, as I said before, a standard clothing store. Now you have to say, all right, so opening a clothing store, but you know what? My customers can shop online, and within 2 hours, they're going to get their items delivered to their home. So you have to think about the different things within this environment that are going to make your business model and make your product survive. So you had also asked in terms of what are some businesses that are thriving. Number one, cleaning services. Everybody wants a cleaning, sanitization of offices, sanitization of restaurants, homes. So we've really seen that pick up now within COVID. Delivery service companies. So whether it's restaurants, whether they're delivering for pharmacies, whether they're delivering for supermarkets, delivery services. Supermarkets are doing very well. Wholesales, everybody, you always need the basic products. Never let go of necessities. Sometimes people are like, oh, but it's not sexy enough. No, everybody needs it. Everybody needs toilet paper. Everybody needs some cleaning products. Everybody needs those necessities. So if you can do that and put a little twist on it, that would make it different from competitors, you go into that. Another thing, we're at home a lot, home entertainment. In terms of home renovations, we see those companies doing well because everybody's at home and looking around their house and it's like, oh my gosh, I need to renovate, I need to do something. At their home, they're bored, their gaming is happening a lot. And then even too, some you wouldn't think, but auto sales, that is actually thriving because people are now like, you know what, it's time for me to see if I can purchase a car. I don't want to be around the millions of people. You don't know what they have. COVID, no COVID. People are actually into auto sales right now and trying to purchase vehicles. So those are some of the businesses that we see thriving. Some of the easier ones, auto sales might be a little hard to get into, but cleaning services, delivery companies, you can, try with those.
I love that. I love that context. And it goes back to the point you made at the top of the discussion. And guys, yes, remember we're recording, so you can catch what you didn't catch earlier. But when you talk about you shared, looking at the feasibility of a business by starting at looking at where is the demand, what do customers need right now, and that's great because you can just look around you, and even sometimes you just look at your own life, and talk about look at what is it that I would need. As you said, supermarket, I make money hand over fist. More people are cooking at home. Cleaning, sanitization for all the obvious reasons. Delivery services taking off. OMG. I mean, between all the different brands, the purples and the yellows and the greens, riding on the road, delivering everything from a pin to an anchor. It's just wow. So there are really great ways to look at, well, based on the current environment, the restrictions and the needs that people have, what are the business opportunities that I could take advantage of in COVID? And recognizing too that I think when we talk about whatever the new normal looks like, and I know some of us sick of that word, right? But you're also going to have to consider that even as we get back to normal, there are some things that will disappear, because you could say less people will be cooking from home after this, because they'll get a chance now to go outside. Restaurants will be open later and so on, and more entertainment options will be available, so you can go out more. So there may be a shift in that behavior. But when you talk about recognizing that I can work from home or work remotely, or I can have a bearer service do this for me, I don't need to be killing up myself in traffic all day every day for run every errand if I can pay a $500 here or there to get something done. I think there's going to be a shift in consumer behavior when this COVID thing is over, and that is going to really continue to open up opportunities that started now and perhaps will continue after. You spoke about online and convenience, and I see Kimon here seconding that point in the comments, which is, setting up a business online sometimes, that's a really great way to not only create convenience for customers, which is always great, but you're talking about broadening access. And, that's one of the great things that the internet has opened up for us as business owners, which is it's not just about opening up a little store in Kingston, because even in this pandemic, I had an experience where I bought something from a local clothing store where I see something on Instagram. I ask the price, the size, or whatever, and the whole conversation is between me and the proprietor in the DMs or on WhatsApp, and transfer the money electronically, and the outfit is delivered to my door by a delivery service. I don't reach the store yet. You're talking about really great opportunities to enhance and broaden your reach to customers via the online space. I mean, where can I go and learn about how to set up my business online? Because for a lot of people, they're like, I don't really know how to do that. How can I get that sort of information and guidance, Shani?
All right. So, right now there are about 9 big e-commerce websites, right? And if you go to websitebuilderexpert.com, you can they will give you a little short survey in terms of what you want out of an e-commerce platform, and then they will say, okay, this is the best e-commerce platform for you. So the different platforms are like this. I've seen Shopify a lot. There's BigCommerce. There's Wix, WIX. So there's different ones. But you can now say, okay, let me choose. And when I've been doing research, I found that one, websitebuilderexpert.com, really listed all of them out and showed you the advantages and disadvantages of each. So I would tell people definitely go to that website if they're trying to choose which online platform to go with.
Love that. Give me that name again.
Websitebuilderexpert.com.
Websitebuilderexpert.com. Really great resource to take you through the steps regarding what you need to do and how you can set up your business online. Love that, Shani. And I just want to acknowledge the engagement in the comments. Thanks. Yes, Kimon, don't send us an invoice for the summaries you provide in the comments, girl. We really appreciate it. Right? Don't send us an invoice, man. You're doing so well. Thank you so much for your support. Chef Ricardo, I love that idea. Father's Day gourmet in a box, looking at all, because now curfew is like 2 o'clock on a Sunday. What do we do with that? We do nothing with that. We can't go nowhere with that. So here is Chef Ricardo saying he created an idea out of a need where you really don't need to go anywhere. He will give you something to make it nice and easy and still show that dad that you care. And Tiffany, again, just to acknowledge, no, you don't always need to have money to make money or to borrow money. That was just one of the options, but there are some grants available that you can perhaps access if you're looking to start a business. And I think that was certainly one of the awesome takeaways of the financing discussion. All right. So final question, and I'm going to do like a two-part question before we open up the floor. I mean, I think we've just been having a great conversation tonight, covering so many bases. I know we talk about payment gateways, so we would have spoken about setting up your business online, Shani. And a huge part of setting up your website and doing business in the online digital space is having the payment gateways. You would, just as a nomenclature of how the channels people can use so your customers can pay you digitally online, whether it be usually through an online credit card or debit card. What is a payment gateway exactly? And how do they benefit my business? Because I know that's a key part of doing business in the online space.
So the main role of a payment gateway is to authorize transactions between you and your customers so that transactions can go through and the businesses receive the payments. So a payment gateway is highly secured. So you can, both the customer and the business owner can know for sure that this transaction is a safe transaction. And then there are multiple payment options. So whether you use a credit card, you can use a debit card, there are mobile wallets right now. So that is what a payment gateway is set up for. So you have your online, you set up your e-commerce, now the client needs to pay, and that's the easiest way for them to do that. And it's quick and it's convenient. So in looking at different payment gateways, there are a lot of them. So you can go with PayPal. PayPal is the one that everybody knows. You can do PayPal. The best one we've seen now for startups is Braintree. So you can look up Braintree. And then there's also authorized.net. So actually, the same way I was showing you that you can go and look for different e-commerce sites, you can go and look for the best payments gateway for you at thebalancemb.com. And then that will show you, okay, if you're a startup, this is the best for you. If you want to sell internationally, 2Checkout is the best one for you. If it's a brick and mortar, which one is the best? So go on to thebalancemb.com and you can see all the payment gateways and you can make a decision on which one is best for you. I would say the most I've seen in Jamaica right now is the use of PayPal.
Okay. I love that. So there are many different options. So make note of this website, guys. The balances MB .com, where you can get exposure to all the available options. I know there that some folks express challenges with being able to get their money out of PayPal. I personally am not familiar with those challenges, but there are alternatives, and I think that website is a great place to start. Thank you so much, Shani. I mean, obviously we started out by saying we'd use the first 20 to 30 minutes, but I mean, there are so many great questions, and I think these are certainly the more popular questions that we would have been seeing coming through all of our social media listing and the interactions that we would have had with individuals who are desirous of starting their small business. So I think this was a great conversation. Now, we have been getting some questions coming through. I made a note here of the questions that we wouldn't have been able to answer so far. Some of them we've been answering in the discussion already, so we're covered. But the first question I got here is from Capri. Capri was checking in if the information here is for Jamaican residents only, or perhaps Jamaican citizens, because Capri is a U.S. citizen but lives in Jamaica. Do you have any information on that, Shani, in terms of the DBJ grant requirement? Because anybody can register a a business, I think, in Jamaica. But the question then is, when start to seek out maybe funding opportunities, whether you're looking for a grant from the DBJ, whether you want to apply for a loan from a bank. Each bank would have its own stipulations regarding residency or citizenship. I know if it's citizenship, FATCA requirements, right? The U.S. government needs us to report on to them regarding all of the U.S. citizens that we currently do business with, because they need to know that for tax information, tax implications. But do you know of any restrictions, certainly in the grant space, around whether it's just for Jamaican residents or citizens, Shani, or would that information be available on the website?
So I think it would be available on the website, and I don't want to say for sure. I know DBJ is focused on bettering Jamaicans and Jamaica, but I won't say for sure that because you're a U.S. citizen, you're excluded, So,
Right.
yeah, so I think you can check their website and they would have the credentials on.
Yeah, because that really would be the big, as you say, thing, because a entity like a DBJ or a Caribbean Development Bank, they're really focused on driving or on pouring, I would say, pouring into small businesses as a way to boost the local economy. They're not boosting the global economy, it's a local economy. So I would, at the very least, I agree with the recommendation that you check the website, and let's not be surprised if there are certain stipulations regarding maybe you're needing to provide evidence of how long you've been here, how long you plan to be here, that sort of thing. Because if you can't demonstrate that what you're about is about building the local economy, that's going to be a problem, because that's going to be contrary to their mandate. And similarly, a bank wants to know you're not just going to take off at a whim. What's your level of commitment and vestedness, there's such a word, in the business. So great question, Capri. Thank you. Cheryl had a question which I think we answered. She wanted to know if the voucher program with DBJ, if it's a loan or a grant. It is a grant. So we just need to go to the DBJ, or the Development Bank of Jamaica, the DBJ's website, their voucher website, and the information will be there. It is a grant, and then they would certainly outline the requirements for that. Shani, is there a thing, because Capri asked another great question. Love these questions, Capri. What type of businesses, are there any business types that are not allowed in Jamaica, or where we would get that information? Well, we know drugs is not part of the mix, not pharmaceuticals. You can't go into drugs, right? But is there such a place where that information exists, Shani? Do you know?
Well, okay, so with the question, I'm not sure if it's allowed, if she means not allowed in Jamaica, because you can go into multiple businesses, but it's hard now to get a loan because you're in that industry. So, for instance, with gambling, you couldn't really go to a bank with that. So in terms of still cannabis, we know that it's hard for a bank to fund those type of businesses. So most businesses are allowed, but if you can get funding and proper legal funding for the business.
Yeah. That's a great question, and again, I love that response, Shani, because it really digs at the heart of, well, what's your intention and what kind of support do you need? And I know, as a regulated financial institution, a bank, banks really are prevented from conducting certain business affairs with cannabis businesses. It's not the banks decide, so we don't want to do it. It's literally sometimes even coming from the international partners who say, look, you can do business with these people. That's really the bottom line. So if you decide you want to do cannabis, however medicinal it is, you can't expect to go to a bank. So as you say, you can open up cannabis business, but you can't go to the bank to get a loan to do it, because the banks are prevented from doing it. So that's a very good question. So as you do your feasibility study, guys, it's not only about what is allowed in terms of the type of business, but it's also about, well, based on the support mechanisms, you need a bank account, you need financing. Based on what you need, are there any restrictions in those areas based on the type of business that you're in? Thanks, Shani, for that. And great question, Capri. Francis had asked a question earlier, and I think we answered it. So we'll just go back quickly if anybody would have missed it. Because Shani gave a recommendation to register your business name up front. She gave an awesome personal testimonial. You spend all of this money on business card, website URL, only then to try and register it and realize somebody else either have the name or have the name close to the name, and you really don't want to get in that kind of antsness. So the first thing you need to do really is, once you have your business name after you've done your feasibility studies, is register it and make sure that, no, you're not going to run into any problems there, because even from a marketing perspective and a branding perspective, it's too much headache when company names are too close together, and God forbid that other company name close to yours get into hot water and you have to be taking out all of these ads to say you are not associated and blah blah blah. It really just saves a lot of headache. So thank you, Francis. I know we answered your question as well. Can you get business insurance? I don't know. Are you able to speak to the Shani insurance for sole tradership?
Yes, you can. And you can go through JMMB because we have our insurance arm and we actually have a product for SMEs, SME based. So that is something that you can do. Obviously, it will depend on what you need the insurance for, but yes, you can get insurance.
All right, great stuff. And thanks for that reminder. Yes, a lot of people don't know JMMB has an insurance brokerage company in the group. So when you reach out, we can, contact us. We can certainly work to set up an appointment with you to have the conversation with one of our brokerage reps to see what options are available out there. Great question. Someone is asking here about the maximum amount of an unsecured loan. I don't think there's a maximum amount. I don't think so. I would just say that, guys, that at the end of the day, and a great question, Hewitt and Hewitt Duncan, is there any relation, Shani? Yeah, it's like, hey, there's another Duncan. I wouldn't say focus on whether or not there's a maximum amount. It's really about what can you be approved to borrow. That's really the bottom line. And what is based on, again, whatever collateral you can bring to the table. And if you're using the viability of the entity by providing audited financials to show what the business has been able to turn over, again, what risk the bank is willing to take with the depositor's money to lend to the small business, how much they believe is a reasonable amount to lend that they believe the business will be able to pay back. That's really the bottom line. It's about how much can we lend comfortably that we are confident this borrower can pay back. And that's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for the depositors whose money is helping to fund those loans. And it's a win also. You don't want to dig yourself too deep in a hole, Exactly. So I would say, yeah, let's start there. It's about what you will be approved to borrow based on your unique situation, collateral you can provide, and how the business has been performing.
I would say too that don't go over what you need, because then you're going to stretch yourself. So it's based on your needs first and not what the maximum is.
Wonderful. Love that. Thank you. All right. And our Q has a question here. Say you have a 9-to-5 job. You want to start a sole proprietorship. Wondering what are the tax implications if you're already paying income tax as a PAYE worker in your job? I think that's a great question, and I'm assuming, yes, could be like maybe a side hustle, or this could be, it looks like a side hustle business. What are the tax implications, Shani? Can you say?
Yeah, so you still have to, so you have your regular job, you're paying your NIS, you're paying everything. What you need to do, you still need to file your taxes for your business. All right. And then on that tax form, they will ask you if you have a regular job, if you're self-employed, or if you have a 9-to-5. And if you do have a 9-to-5, they will calculate what you're already paying in some of the taxes. So yes, you do need to file income tax, even if it's a side hustle, but it will be calculated properly. And one of the things that the tax office has is that they have advisors, and I have used them, and they are great. You can go in to one of the offices, and you can sit with them, and they will help you fill it out. So don't be afraid of taxes. They are very helpful, and they will help you to fill out how you should fill it out. And another thing in terms of GCT, if you're what they've done now is if you're not making over 10 million, you don't have to now file for GCT. So there are certain things that they've made easier for us as side hustle and regular jobs. So just go into them, and they'll help you.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And just we spoke earlier at the top of this discussion that the SME Resource Center has monthly webinars on various topics that are important to small businesses. And I know a couple months back we did a webinar on taxes, things that businesses need to know about filing tax returns and so on. And the recording, I believe, is up on the JMMB Group Jamaica's YouTube channel, so folks can check that out. But I do like the recommendation, Shani, that you can reach out to the tax authorities to have a conversation with the representatives there to know what your obligation is. And just a reminder too, you had said at the top of the live to Shani that it's good to start separating those bank accounts, not the commingling. And I think taxation is probably one of the great things that benefit from that separation. Correct?
Yes, and when, as you said, when we did the live, it was actually the tax office. They had a representative, so we got it straight live from there. So I think, as you said, they can go on, and it had a lot of tips in terms of taxation and how to file. I think she even looked at a form. So go and look at that one, and you'll get a lot of information.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks for that question, RQ. And the last question, just to take us out, because we are just about at time, is Queen B was just asking for a quick reminder on the grants. We love the grants, right? Don't need to pay it back. But, talking about DBJ, that was one, Development Bank of Jamaica. They have a voucher program, and
then you can also go to Caribbean Export. They also have grants for technical assistance. And then there's also the Caribbean Development Bank that you can go to. So
wonderful.
There's different places that you can go and look for grants.
Wonderful. Shani, just as a last question, well, before we wrap up, because there's one last question, because I know a big question that a lot of folks have is how can they get in touch with you and your awesome team at the Resource Center? But before we do that, I just want to wrap because just to do some housekeeping matters. The first thing again, guys, this entire show was recorded. We're talking about an hour and a half chock full of great content for anybody who wants to understand some basic information about how to start a business in Jamaica. It was recorded, so pretty much almost right after we're done here, it's going to be available on our JMMB Group Jamaica YouTube channel and our JMMB Group Jamaica Facebook page, so you can catch the recording, rewatch it at your leisure, share the link with anybody who who could benefit from this information. And guys, we are here every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Jamaica time, right here. Check us out. Come and join us. Great conversations about all things financial to help you to achieve your financial goals. We'll be back next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. because, that's what we do. We don't tell you the topic yet because we want you to follow JMMB Jamaica on our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook. We are on LinkedIn, Twitter. We're all over the place. And just follow us, and then you will see what the next episode is, where we're going to have another awesome guest talking about another awesome topic. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell, of course, like this video as well, you will get an automatic notification. And if you follow us on Facebook as well, you will get the notification of when you do go live. And guys, we're in curfew, ain't nowhere to go. So join us and have some great conversation. Before I ask Shani the last question, guys, can we give Shani a virtual round of applause in the comments for doing such an awesome job, giving us some rich information. Shani, it's been wonderful. You and your team are doing an awesome job. I know your babies, your clients at the resource center, they love you very much. And I know the big question is, Shani, as everybody is dropping their applause in the comments, is how do we become a part of the resource center? I mean, what do I do? Who do I call?
All right. So what you can do is that you can send us an email at SME Resource Center at jmmb.com. So
Okay.
what you need is really to have wait, no, what did I say?
SME Resource Center. See it on the screen here. SME
Yes,
Resource
yes,
Center
yes,
at JMMB. Yeah, man, we're on the
yes.
ball. All right.
All
Yes,
right.
Jessica.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So once you do that, all we want is that you set up a business bank account with the JMMB, and then you'll be able to have access to our resource center and for us to help and guide you to make sure that your business lasts and it's able to grow. So what we do is we help you through the life cycle of your business. So that's all you need to do. Contact us. We do a needs analysis with you. We set up that bank account and then we work with you.
Wonderful. And how long has the resource center been in operation, Shani? I'm just saying, I know yesterday we open and 2021 we open.
So we've been around. We've been around for at least 2 years now, and we made sure that we were the best, top of the line, and coming out and giving you great service. So we've been here. We have our success stories. We have been in this business helping our SMEs.
Absolutely. I know some of people have been on social media and seeing a couple testimonials of some clients who talk about the awesome partnership that they enjoy with JMMB as an SME. And so we've been here. We've been here for a little while, people, right? We're probably I would say we're the first, but I'll just leave it at that. But we've been here for the resource center certainly for 2 years now. JMMB started as a small business itself, so we are very passionate as an organization about supporting the needs and desires of entrepreneurs. We do have a suite of solutions available, including financing and deposit account and investment options alongside the services of the resource center. We also will continue to roll out additional financial solutions for SMEs to be able to do business better and in a more efficient way. So again, please stay tuned to our social media channels as we continue to roll out those great innovations throughout the rest of this year into next year. And again, this is how you can reach out to get started and to have the conversation, because that's what we do. All right. So guys, we're loving the participation. Of course, we have to big up everybody in the comments. I mean, also, this is some new faces, some not so new faces. We really appreciate you guys. Again, share the link for this video to your friends, family, colleagues, anybody who you think could use information, because that's what it's all about, guys. It's about helping each other to realize your greatness and all of what is in you, because that's why JMMB, that's why we do these lives. It's about just providing awesome information that you need to achieve your financial goals. That's really what it's all about. So I want to big up and acknowledge Shani again for taking the time from your husband and your family and everybody to join us again on the live. You might as well just set up a bed in here because you're a regular now. You probably appeared on the live more than any other JMMB team member, perhaps. Also have to big up my marketing team, Jessica, admin in the back, Stephanie, marketing, who continues to produce these lives with me every single week. Can't do it without you guys. And again, another big up to our awesome audience. Spread the word about these great conversations. Any episodes you would have missed, we've been discussing stocks and unit trusts and retirement. And as you see, guys, we break it all the way down. We keep it real. We're not sugarcoating the thing, because at the end of the day, it's about great information so that you can get to do what you need to do to achieve your goals. So thanks, guys. Remember, COVID is not done. Keep safe, wash your hands, wear your mask, keep your distance. Protect your loved ones. And we see you next week, same time, 8 p.m. Jamaica time next week, Tuesday. Stay tuned social media to see what we'll be talking about. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Good night. Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.